when you tune into what you're passionate about, when you are authentic with yourself, things come to you. I've done the experiment so many times, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'll share one story and then I'm going to let someone come up. Up to yesterday, you know, we're getting ready for the event, and I'm like, oh, I just realised I ain't had a haircut. I want to put on a nice jacket. Let me go out and yesterday, so I'm going out and get a haircut, go down to Sloane Square to get a jacket, go to the shop. Of course, I'm doing everything late, so it's like 7:10. What shop's open? Anyway, I go to this store, and it's open. Funny. I walk inside, and the store's Hackett. So I've got to say it because you'll understand it in it. So anyone know the clothing store Hackett? They do some good stuff, don't they? Can't you tell? Okay. So I go in, and they're like, sir, can I have your name, please? So I'm like, okay, be bold. Give me my name. You're not on the list. But don't worry. And they put my name down. Okay, cool. Would you like a glass of champagne, sir? Yes, I would. So it's all good. And then I'm like, what's going on? So I've got to try and style it out because I don't know what the hell's going on here. Turns out that I'm at a Prince's Trust event. Prince's Trust is doing a deal with Hackett to hook up. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the urban voice guy. I represent people on road. So we need to have a conversation. And it just turned out that Mr. Jeremy Hackett himself was there. So I'm like, we need to have a conversation, sir. So had a little conversation, and lo and behold, within 15 minutes, I'm all suited out. So, when I say that I'm here for you, I mean it sincerely. I get so much blessings, it's ridiculous. Like, I had to phone my guy, I was like, do you not believe what happened? It was like, Tony, we're getting to understand that anything's possible. And on a serious note, what is it about? Because and this is one of the things I really want you to understand and grasp. For those of you who think that the adults don't care and that adults, are just not to be trusted, it's true. I said to my kids, any adult come speak to you about anything, respectfully, question it. And if they can't answer, then just leave it. But the point is, there are people out there that want to make a difference because we're living in a new time. And if your mindset is in the place where there's nothing good, there's no opportunities, nobody cares, guess what you're going to attract? Just that. Because you attract what you are, not what you do. You attract what you are. So until you get to that place where you are open and recognize and appreciate that actually, you're beautiful. You deserve the very best. Only when you can truly, and it's not about faking it, you have to truly believe it. When you do, then things can change. So anyway, I'm going to pause now because I'm going to turn this into a sermon and it's not about that. I'd like Simon, my partner, millionaire partner, that's because of you. Because I only said to him, Simon, this is what I want to do. Anyway, cut long story short, here he is. Put your hands up for Simon.
So I want to talk to you about why I'm here, give you a little bit of my backstory, and hopefully that'll be a bit inspirational for you. So this is really interesting to me because I used to work not far from here. Used to work for BT, and if any of you know Old Street, not far from here, on the roundabout, there's a big tall blue glass building, and that's where I used to work. So I left school at 18 and worked for BT. Tony spoke about we get kind of conditioned and pushed to do things. I worked there because my elder brother worked for BT, and my mum pushed me and she said, apply to BT, your brother's doing alright, go and work for them. So I didn't know anything, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I applied to work at BT, had an interview in London and got offered this job and turned up for the first day at Old Street, and it was like just round the corner from here. And as the months went by, I kind of walked further and further and discovered the delights of, I reckon it's a bit posh, isn't it? I used to hang out in Broadgate, which is at the back of Liverpool Street Station, and in the winter they did ice skating and stuff there, and some of it was like classical music and stuff like that. It was like classic. But my job, I started off as a kind of very junior person. I worked my way up for 14 years, which I know you think is incredible because I'm only 26 now, but and I worked my way to the dizzy heights of a customer relationship management project manager, okay? Which meant I got to hang out in a place like this. Like this just it feels like going back to work. It's kind of weird because I left there 10 years ago. But basically it meant I got to sit in a lot of little meeting rooms like the ones around here, talking about things and taking minutes and things and action points. And then a week later you could have another meeting to discuss the action points that you made last week that you haven't done yet. So you make some more, so well, you must do action point number 2 from last week. So it wasn't very satisfying, and I was kind of working around the corporate ladder, and the higher I got, the more I disliked it. And I thought, what am I doing here? I don't like this job. I get a little bit more money each year. BT had a really good pay scheme. And basically, if you worked and you did okay and you got good on your appraisal, you got a 4% pay rise, okay, which is alright. If you worked really, really hard and you got excellent on your appraisal, you got a 5% pay rise. Well, what incentive, eh? So, but I had a passion, and this is my passion. This is actually me playing in a band 10 years ago. The reason I was bald then. And we used to play local pubs. I'm from a place called Gravesend in Kent, if anybody knows it. It's a historic riverside heritage town, according to the signs. I can assure you it's none of those things. It's not a great place. But I think Tower Hamlets, it's kind of like that in Kent. But it's we used to go out with this band for 100 quid a gig, so we would get 25 quid each, right, on a good gig. On a bad gig, 50 quid between us. On a really bad one, nothing. And even on the really good gigs, which we played to about 70, 80 people, 25 quid each, divided by 4, sorry, 25 quid is divided by 4, subtract the bar bill from that, negative equity. So we used to pay to be in this band, but we just did it for a crack because it was fun. But I went to see a band called Coldplay perform in 2002 in Brighton, and was blown away by them. And driving back with one of the guys in the band, I said, you know what we should do? We should start a tribute band to Coldplay, and that'd be fun. And we could then charge more than 100 quid because the tribute bands get paid proper money. And they play like theatres all around the country, and we could like travel more than 5 miles from Gravesend. Because that was the extent of our radius. I think we went 6 miles once, but only once. So anyway, around the same time BT announced a redundancy scheme. And I thought, hallelujah, all my Christmases have come at once. Because I started this Coldplay tribute band, we started getting 2 gigs a week for between 1,000 quid a gig and 2,000 quid a gig. Now 2 grand a gig's alright, isn't it? That's 500 quid each, okay? Just pause the tape a second, it's actually cash as well, so, you know. So suddenly, I'm earning all this, as much money, or more money from my hobby as was from my day job, and BT says, well, we're looking for some people to leave, and you've been here 14 years, so we will give you 20 grand to go. Hallelujah. That's right. I've got this new job that I've been doing on the side that now pays me more than you. It's 2 months a week and I love it. And you'll give me 20 grand to sort of not have to come and do this anymore. Yeah, where do I sign? So I signed up and got my redundancy money and invested it really wisely in this, which was the tour bus for the band to get us around the country. Because these gigs we were getting were literally all over the place, all the way down to Cornwall, places like Butlins in Minehead, up country, Skegness, so we've been all the classy places, let me tell you. So all over the country, but until this point we were literally turning up in 4 cars, or we were hiring a van. But the problem with hiring a van is generally they've got 3 seats in the front. There's 4 guys in the band, right? So I mean, one of the guys in the band had to sort of lie in a sleeping bag or something in the back with all the equipment, and every now and again we'd hear a clonk, and that'd be like, oh God, he's fallen asleep and he's fallen off the speakers or something. You know, it was not a classy way to travel. So we got this tour bus to take us around the country, and that was my reason for leaving BT. Now when I left BT, I realised that I was really bored. I was used to getting up at like 6 o'clock every day, getting on a train at 7, coming out to London. And these gigs were only 2 months a week, and we were a Coldplay tribute band. They only had 2 albums out at the time. So once we learned all the 2 albums worth of songs, like, what do you do? Where do you go from there? Make some more up, pretend Coldplay wrote them. So I started going to these seminars. I went to this seminar that was all about making money from information products. And it cost me a lot of money actually. It cost me nearly 2,000 quid this seminar. But the guy promised, he said, I'll teach you my system that's made me 20 million quid. And he said, come to the seminar, I'll show you my bank statements to show you I'm not bluffing, I'll teach you the exact system I used. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I should be able to copy it, can't be that hard, can it? So I went to this seminar, and he passed around his back exams, and it was for real. This guy was importing DVDs, or licensing DVDs from America, and selling them in the UK. So he was licensing DVDs on things like stocks and share trading, on repairing microwave ovens, on photography, all sorts of topics. And he was just finding things that people in America had made a course on, and then licensing them for the UK market, changing the packaging and selling them in the UK. So that was his business model. He was selling through direct mail, through classified ads in newspapers. And that was good, but what he didn't tell us when we got to the seminar was that in order to start the business, you needed this thing called start-up capital. You needed to be able to pay 500 quid or a grand for that newspaper advert. You needed to be able to pay to buy a mailing list. You needed to pay to get the packaging redone for the UK market and spell colour properly and that sort of thing. Americans can't do. And I didn't have the capital, because I'd spent most of my money on the tour bus for the band. I'd spent money on the seminar, and I had about 4 grand left. And I wasn't willing to risk that on one project which may or may not work, and I thought, I've got nothing. So I just kind of parked the idea that information could be good, because there's great margin in it. When you get it right, he was selling a set of DVDs for 300 quid that cost 10 quid to duplicate. So you're talking like 98% gross profit margin if you can get it right. Now, I just want to show you a couple of pictures. This is the house I grew up in, so just to show you that I'm not someone who's like born wealthy or whatever, this is Gravesend, historic riverside heritage town that I mentioned earlier. This is the poshest house in the street, because it's not a terraced house. It might look like a terraced house to you, but please note the air gap down here. This is semi-detached. Well, that's what I told them friends at school. I don't think it's a terraced house, I think it's a semi-detached house. Yeah, it's pretty classy. But after 3 years of starting an internet business, that's the house that I bought. It's alright, isn't it? Bit of a step up. It's not bad. There's Richard Branson on Neck Island. This is on day 4 when my suitcase arrived, and I got some of my own t-shirts, not brand Tortola. That's been a helicopter, just landing at the British Grand Prix. I went to the British Grand Prix and hired a helicopter for the day that picked me up from the back garden. That's kind of cool, isn't it? That's me with Mark Webber that won the race that day. That's a Ferrari California. I went and bought one brand new from the Ferrari dealership in town. It was the funniest thing ever, walking in the showroom. And first of all, the guy just ignored me, because I'm dressed smart today, right? As soon as I start my own business, it's like jeans and t-shirt, Tortola. And I walked in the showroom, and it was just walking around, and he started just blanking me. He saw I was there, but he just blanked me. I thought, it's not like he can afford a Ferrari. I'm just going to ignore him. And I was just hovering around, thinking, sure, someone will come over and talk to me in a minute. And they just came over with a brochure and said, yes, would you like a brochure? Which one would you like? And I think he just thought I was hanging out for the free brochure, because apparently, I found out later, that's what people do. They like go in the Ferrari show just to get the brochure, to keep the brochure at home, to like a little keepsake, like a free book. But anyway, so I took one out for a test drive, and the best look in the world is on his face. And I said, yeah, no, I think I'll buy one. Really, sir? Oh, so I'll just get John, he's our finance guy, he can talk to you about the ups, and said, it'll be cash. He's like, so, yes, that's the Ferrari that I bought. That's that same Ferrari going around Silverstone. On a private day on Silverstone, I got to take my Ferrari around Silverstone for the day and abuse the hell out of it. It's great fun. So, any of you that have ever dreamed of being a racing driver,